What's up, guys? It's your boy Zowoki back out with another Chris Watts video. And today's kind of video is kind of backing up a lot of our claims about the Watts family. And when I say this, there are people that are sticking up stating that Chris Watts is innocent, that there's nothing wrong that's going on with the Watts family, Ronnie and Cindy and stuff like that. Like, legitimately, there are things on the internet that we don't have to state that's wrong. There's videos on there that shows the evidence. And there are those that are telling me that the Ruseks are the ones that are the problem. What did the Ruseks do? The Ruseks didn't do anything. They lost their family. Okay, I understand that Cindy and Ronnie lost their son, technically, because he's in prison. But they get to talk to him. They can have a phone call. How are you feeling today? How are you doing? What did you eat at prison today? Like Chris can also talk. How'd the Steelers do? How is the Steelers winning? Like, they can do that. The Ruseks can't do that with Shanann. Shanann is gone. Yes, Cindy and Ronnie lost grandchildren. But they don't show emotions as if they lost granddaughters. They're showing emotions because their son is in prison. And that's bothersome to myself. But then people tell me that I'm wrong when there's interviews that are out there that show that they're just constantly being negative towards Shanann. Shanann is gone and she can't defend herself. And yet Shanann did this wrong. Shanann did that wrong. Shanann got mad about this. Why is this okay? It's not okay. And I'm going to defend the Ruseks, and I'm going to defend Shanann and her babies, because that's what needs to be done. So with that being said, we're going to get into this video, but before we go any further, make sure you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel by hitting that white bar icon down the bottom right. Hit the bell icon next to it, so when I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I've posted that video, and then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you guys so very much for the love and support that you guys show on this channel every single day. I can't thank you guys enough. Keep doing what you guys are doing, and we'll continue to keep growing, and we're almost to 51,000 subscribers. That being said, we're going to be going over to Michelle After Dark. I love this channel. I definitely do think that she should be above in subscribers. So give her some love. Hit the link below. Subscribe, comment, like, and share. This woman is on her way to 100,000 subscribers, like myself. But we definitely want to give her some love as well for the content that she is creating as well. This video, yes, was put out 3 years ago. So I don't want to beat people in the comments saying we already heard this. Some people haven't heard this yet. Some people haven't even found her channel yet. And we're still going to watch this. We're still going to react to it because apparently it needs to sink in some people's heads that the Ruseks are not the problem. Yet people want to sit there and shame a deceased woman that lost her life because this man wanted to start a new life with a mistress. But yet they defend him and say Team Chris. I have no words. So with that being said, these are the disturbing truths about the Watts family. Again, this is all publicly shown and announced. It's not nothing hidden, so this is not defamation. The truth is there. Let's take a look.
Press 1. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. To continue, press 1. To disconnect, press 2. Thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Thank you. I guess I will start the conversation now. Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. It's Michelle here with another video. While we watched Chris Watts in Weld County Jail, this was October 2018, I want to start a conversation. In fact, I want to try to pull together some truths amongst all the nonsense that goes on various YouTube channels. There are some disturbing truths, and I think if we stick to the facts the facts of the case, just
The
for
facts,
this video.
not the rumors.
Right? I've got my own theories, and I'm very happy to speculate on who might be involved, on what might really have occurred. For this video, let's look at the truths, because the truths are actually potentially more disturbing than anything. The truths of the matter are disturbing without thinking of any accomplices. Indeed, it becomes much less disturbing to imagine that he wasn't the person who murdered his daughters.
What are they doing to his feet? Like, are they powdering his, or taking footprints?
Start to make sense if you get into that conversation that it wasn't Chris, or Chris was acting under duress, and everything that he's done since is because he's scared of comebacks. That makes the situation feel less disturbing, because if the truth is this, if the truth is exactly as Chris has claimed in the Wisconsin confession and his subsequent letters to Sherilyn Cadle, which gave a very similar story, that truth is incredibly disturbing. It's disturbing when any parent annihilates their families. In a lot of cases of family annihilations, and thankfully they are rare, it's quite common for the perpetrator to take themselves out. So it's a pure, entire family annihilation.
Yep, they're taking a footprint. Look. Because he's taking the piece of paper apart, because they're gonna take his footprint and then they're gonna put the other piece over top of it. Why would they have to do this? We never saw footprints.
It's incredibly disturbing when that perpetrator doesn't take themselves out. They're doing it because they want to get away.
Why are they getting this
they've
footprint?
got some mental illness. You know, I'm thinking of Letitia Stauch, for example, who did a video about yesterday. Like, there's no motive for her murdering Gannon, her stepson, other than she was unhappy and she wanted to leave. Well, why not just leave? Why have to murder an innocent 11-year-old child and then somehow get his body across from the west to the east coast of America and dump his body in a suitcase under an underpass somewhere in Florida? It's senseless, and it's incredibly, incredibly disturbing, uncomfortable to even think about that someone would do that. But in the Chris Watts case, you know, he murdered his wife, who was pregnant, and his two daughters, biological daughters. For what? He doesn't have an answer. And the fact that he doesn't have an answer is incredibly disturbing. I mean, you know, he says that he was taken over by darkness. He must have been in a dissociative state, which has probably left him very traumatized. You know, I'm a psychologist in my day job, chartered psychologist.
Oh, really?
But I come on YouTube and make these videos. From a personal perspective, these are my personal opinions. But I like to bring in a little bit of psychology where it's relevant to do so. And looking at the psychology of the Watts family brings us some really disturbing truths. I've made a couple of videos about...
So she's even a professional herself. I didn't even know that.
Chris Watts and his psychology. It's my personal opinion that he doesn't measure high on psychopathy, and he wouldn't fulfill the diagnostic criteria for any personality disorders. Now, that doesn't mean to say that he doesn't display some traits. For example, we all display some traits of personality disorders, because personality disorders are just the extreme ends of personality traits. You know, various combinations of personality traits in their most extreme form that's pervasive, that these traits are evident in lots of situations throughout life. Well, that's where you potentially get a diagnosis of a personality disorder. But we all can be narcissistic. We all can be avoidant. We all can be emotionally volatile. It doesn't mean to say that we've got a personality disorder. And I don't think Chris has. Go back and watch the 2 videos that I've done on Chris Watts' psychology. If we're trying to understand why Chris did what he did, We have to be able to be comfortable sitting with really disturbing facts. For anybody, that is uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable feeling, because if we can't explain why something so horrendous happened, right, it's a survival mechanism. It's called attribution theory. It was developed initially by someone called Hyder in 1948. And attribution theory is now very well established. Actually, there's various attribution theories. I'm just using the umbrella term attribution theory for the sake of simplicity in this video. But we as human beings all strive to seek the causes of events. We do that in trivial ways, but we especially do that when something is horrendous, when it's unexpected, it's sudden, and it's traumatic. We seek to find the causes of those events so that we can, and this is a subconscious thing, that we can protect ourselves. It creates an understanding of the world. As such, we can defend ourselves from something like that happening to us. If there's no explanation for why someone, an apparently loving father, a hard worker, a husband of he'd been with his wife 8 years or so, if somebody like that, a family man, can just suddenly one day get up and murder his family, it then begs the question to us, well, if he can murder, someone in my life could murder. I could murder.
That's scary
right?
To think about.
And those things, if they come into the conscious mind, those things are really dreadful, very disturbing to think about. It's easy to say Chris Watts has psychopathy and that's why he did what he did. Or he has a really extreme form of a personality disorder.
But was it because of money? Was it because of a new family? Starting a new life with Nicole? I mean, he still hasn't said. He just said, yeah, I did it.
Disorder, such as narcissistic personality disorder. And that's why he did what he did. Or he's got some other mental illness, and that's why he did what he did. Or he was completely addicted to his mistress, and it was addiction, like the equivalent of a drug addiction. And that's why he did what he did. Now, all of these things have got some credibility, but none of them explain fully why he did what he did. Chris is in a prison cell, and he is going to be in a prison cell for the rest of his life, regardless of what Lana Banana and Jays for Jaundice are saying.
I never said anything.
They're there. They've been to Colorado, apparently to file a 35C, because he's only got until November to file for the felonies, like putting his daughters in an oil tank and burying his dead wife and unborn son in a shallow grave. Those kind of charges. He's only got 3 years to file a 35C for those felonies. He's got the rest of his life to file for the actual murders, right? Unless they can find evidence he wasn't the one who put Bella and Cece in the oil tanks, and he wasn't the one who buried Shanann and Nico. If they can find evidence that it wasn't him, then I'm all ears. Because I, as well as everyone else who knows anything about this case, wants to know why Chris did what he did.
Agreed.
And if Chris didn't actually do it, then let's hear it. Let's see that evidence. Otherwise, if that...
Like Chris's mom. Chris's mom has said Chris didn't kill the girls. Then who did? It wasn't Shanann, because you see little people walking outside in the front. So if it wasn't her or him, who was it? Nicole? Jim? Who was it?
That evidence does not exist. The 35C will fall flat on its face. I made a video about this last week. His only other hope is he wasn't given suitable counsel. And there's probably some scope to discuss that. But do they have evidence for it? No, he was told. He was asked by the judge. He was told, to say if he understood the charges,
He
if he
understood them.
had legal counsel. And he said, yes, sir, I did.
Well,
So
that's out the window.
unless Chris didn't do these things, then I'm very sorry, the 35C won't go anywhere whatsoever. And that might be a disturbing truth for the Watts family. This is the thing that I keep coming back to. Right, I go over all the theories. I go over was there a cover-up? Anna Darko. Did the Anna Darko executives ring the DA and say, Mr. Rourke, you've got to shut this down? Or Congressman Ken Calvert.
They publicized it, but they endorsed the DA.
Still is, I think, DA Rourke's boss. Get this case shut down. This is putting Anna Darko in a bad light. We've had lots.
Anna Darko went under. His case was moved from the 16th or the 12th, it's either the 16th or 12th of November to the 6th of November, which was the day that the DA was voted into office, to make it look like he was, I got this guy signed, sealed, delivered, and put in prison. Boom. Can't tell me that don't look like weird.
And lots of negative press. There was the Firestone gas leak that caused death, and then there was the Mead explosion, and Anna Darko was going through this troubled time, and they were involved in a buyout.
Survey 319 was actually signed for demolition in September, but then because of this whole murder that happened, murders had to be postponed till December, which it was decommissioned and destroyed. Tell me that don't sound weird.
And any more negative press, Anna Darko would just want to shut it down. And the fact that one of their employees was able to, get onto an oil site as part of his working day, hide the dead bodies of his daughters in some of their oil tanks, that's not the kind of press that any company wants to have. So get this shut down is, I think, quite possible that happened. Now, whether there's anyone else involved, any other Anna Darko employees involved who might be in a position to be able to pull some strings and get their potential, the investigation against them shut down and then disappear for 2 years and, just completely disappear. Who can do that these days? Right? I have looked, and I'm sure that many people have tried to find the person that, if you know who I'm talking about, then you know who I'm talking about, okay. The Watts family, I have compassion for them. I'm a parent. If a child of mine...
I feel bad for the instance that they did lose a son because of this problem. But do not go on live television in an interview, or not live television, but don't go into an interview and completely belittle and make fun of Shanann. Like, that was the wrong way to go about it. Okay, you didn't get along, but why would you sit there and belittle a woman that is gone because of your son's hand? Your grandchildren that should have been able to carry on your DNA, your livelihood, traditions, they're gone because of your son. Again, I would hate to feel what they're feeling. But then they blame the Ruseks. The Ruseks didn't do anything. They lost loved ones. And the Ruseks went after the insurance money. Not the Ruseks. The Ruseks weren't, I feel, 100% entitled to all that money. But the Watts family actually got some as well because they counteracted it and got some of that money. And so that insurance money technically probably went to Chris on his books or something, or bought him some food, or that's messed up. You can't tell me that money didn't go to Chris or some of it.
Had done what Chris did. and killed their
Or try to get
significant
them out.
other and my own grandchildren, it must be a really horrible situation to be in. And Cindy Watts, Chris's mum, you know, many negative things have been said about her, and I have as well. She appears narcissistic. She appears very self-centered and very self-serving. You can hear it in the interviews she's had. You can hear it in the phone calls
It's nothing hidden
that have been put online.
I mean, I've got so much support from so many people. I just wish you would have.
Let them deal with, say what they want to say. We'll
they can say what they want to say. We don't care. We support you. We love you, and that's all that matters. I hope you know that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But
there.
Stuff wasn't happening though.
I know, honey. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Hey, don't worry about us.
Don't worry about us.
Just take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself and
Don't
be
worry about
safe.
yourself, too.
Please be safe.
Have you
Please be safe, because I just can't deal with this
Okay.
if you're not safe.
You'll be safe, honey.
I just want you to be safe.
You will. You will, honey.
We love you so much, and there's nothing I wouldn't do
Rusex
for
can't
you.
do this.
Nothing.
But they would love to
Just
talk
remember,
to
we're
their
always here.
We're
for you.
always
daughter.
here for you.
Okay.
I couldn't cope if anything happened to you, and we're fighting for you, and nothing else matters. We're fighting for
What
you.
about the
These phone
granddaughters?
calls were when Chris was still in Weld County Jail. So
What about baby Nico that could have carried on the Watts family name? Just saying.
we're going back straight after his sentencing hearing, when he was still in Weld County. These things were recorded, and then they've been put online. And it was fresh, right? The whole thing was fresh. I could excuse Cindy saying, you know, we're fighting for you. At that early stage, during that grief process of losing her grandchildren, losing her son effectively, and just all of the trauma that comes with that, her appearing to be narcissistic and appearing to be lacking in empathy for the Ruseks, and complaining about the Ruseks being horrible to the Watts family. You can kind of put that to one side and say, well, she was grieving. We're now 2.5 years into this case. It's really disturbing that the Watts family just don't appear to have moved on. From a psychological point of view, they're stuck. Their grief process has not moved. It appears that they're still engaging in the same narrative. Now, this Colorado trip that allegedly Ronnie Watts has paid for Lana Banana and Jays for Jaundice to fly out to Colorado to file this 35C. Did they have to do it in person? Could they not have done it by email? I don't know, this day and age, you know, modern technology.
Yeah, everything's by voicemail,
and this
text
website,
messages,
this Fight for
email.
Families or whatever it's called, you know, it's just
Electronic.
a money grab. It's a con. It's an incredibly disturbing truth that Ronnie Watts was there. For them to take money from Ronnie, this is all alleged, for Ronnie to put up this money that allegedly has come from the life insurance of his dead daughter-in-law and dead grandchildren, and give that money to someone who made fun of his dead daughter-in-law and dead grandchildren, it beggars belief, because no one in their right mind would go for that, would agree to that. No one in their right mind would do that, which indicates very strongly to me that Ronnie is still in a state of disbelief. He's still in a state of non-acceptance. And that's not good. That's what we call in psychology complicated grief or prolonged grief, where somebody gets just stuck in the grief process. And actually, I don't even think that grief process has really started. They've not processed it. I mean, I'm an outsider, right? An outsider looking in with psychological knowledge that I can bring and say, this is what I think is going on psychologically. But I don't know these people. It's my opinion, therefore.
It's our
For
opinions
the
and our
very
thoughts.
fact that Ronnie's been prepared to do that, they've not accepted it. They still believe that
He's gonna
Chris
get out.
has got a level of innocence that it could even be possible that he could fight this. Demonstrates to me that they cannot get through this grief
I do want to know
process.
why
There's
they're taking
no
his footprints.
processing there. Now, Cindy, was she in Colorado, or is Cindy remaining silent? You know, does she agree with this? Is she continuing to say that she wants Chris to fight?
Yes.
I don't know. I
does.
don't know. If you know, can you let me know in the comments?
She is.
And Jamie, Chris's sister, don't know very much about Jamie, other than I've heard things being said on YouTube channels that Jamie was involved in these horrible Facebook groups that birthed Shazam, you know, Lana Banana's alter ego. You see, let's consider the possibility that Chris has done what he's done because of this really dysfunctional family dynamic that has set him up for really disturbed thought processes. Just consider that possibility. And if that's the case, you know, Chris being the introvert, having problems socially, displaying some autistic traits, not being able to navigate the social world, and being involved in this real dysfunction, and then becoming involved in this mistress who was also very dysfunctional. He's being pulled in a million directions. That doesn't excuse anything. He was an adult.
Exactly.
Doesn't excuse anything he did. He could have said
excuse
no
murderers.
to all of it. He could have told Shanann to stop being controlling. He could have chosen to leave the mistress. He could have chosen to deal with his family
He could have
differently.
gone to God
But he was
before
pulled
prison.
in all of these directions, and that disturbance, and maybe the egging on, the suggestiveness of the mistress. I wonder whether the plan to get rid of the family was done in July with the mistress. I've done a video about that as well. Those are...
I honestly thought it would have happened sooner if Shanann was not in North Carolina so long. It was just a loose cannon. He had the thoughts and the inquiries about doing this, and when she came back, within days, it's what happened.
Speculations, and I
Weeks,
said
I
I
should say.
wanted to get out of speculations in this video.
It's facts.
So let's summarise the most disturbing truths. Let's summarise those. What do we know? What do we actually know about this case? Well, 4 human beings lost their lives via homicide, and we know the nature in which those bodies were killed and dumped. And we have a confession by Chris Watts that he did everything. The rest, I'm afraid, dear listener, is speculation. But there's one other truth that I find really, really disturbing, and that is the dysfunction of the Watts family. And I want to leave you with this thought. The people who are now taking advantage of the Watts' unprocessed grief are utterly, utterly dreadful human beings. But like Chris had choices, so do the Watts family. The Watts family have choices now. They can choose to get professional help and support, which they need to have, to help them come to terms with their son's situation. And I think until they all come to terms with that situation, none of them is going to have any peace whatsoever. And this current thing about the 35C is just prolonging their agony, unfortunately. That's really, really disturbing. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.
I agree 100%.
I've been Michelle. I hope you're well, and I'll see you in the next video.
All he had to do was talk to her. That's all he had to do. That's what you do in a marriage. You talk, you discuss, you evaluate, you say yes or no, and if things, you just got to do that. And then now him saying, I mean, I can't say for certainty that it's wrong to say that he found God in prison. I'm glad he found it. God. But he should have done it before. He should have come to him and said, I need help. And now these beautiful children in Shanann are gone because of his actions about being with Nicole. Please let me know down in the comments your guys' partake on the Watts truths. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I surely would like to keep it positive, though. We can debate, we can talk, but there's no need for bullying. There's no need for negativity. So please keep that in the comments. Hit the like button for the obvious reasons of keeping the justice on track to hopefully one day we'll see the 100% justice. It's not there yet. So again, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe on both channels, mine and Michelle After Dark. Give her some love, and we will see you guys in the next video. Please take care, keep it safe, and as always, keep nerding on, and we'll see you guys next time.